Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is often the one who has done the least? The person who talks the most about their fitness goals rarely looks fit. The person who announces their business idea at every party rarely launches the business. Why? Because when you tell people your goals, your brain gets tricked into feeling like you've already accomplished something. When people congratulate you and say that's amazing, you're going to be so successful, your brain releases dopamine. The same chemical that rewards you for completing a goal is released just for talking about it. Once your brain feels that reward, your motivation to do the actual hard work drops significantly. Today I am going to share an ancient story that reveals its truth more powerfully than any scientific study. This is the story of a bow, a master carpenter, and a groundnut that changed everything. Welcome to Story Studio 91. There once was a young boy named Rajan who lived in a small village surrounded by rice fields and mango trees. Rajan had a big dream. He wanted to become the greatest carpenter in the entire region. He wanted to craft beautiful furniture that people would treasure for generations. But Rajan had one problem. He loved talking about his dream far more than working on it. Every morning, instead of going to the carpentry workshop, Rajan would go to the local tea stall where men gathered to drink chai and share stories. Rajan became the star of the tea stall. He would sit for hours describing the magnificent furniture he was going to build. He'd sketch designs on napkins. He'd talk about the rare woods he would someday use. The men loved it. Rajan, you're going to be famous one day. What vision, what ambition. With every compliment, Rajan felt warm inside. He felt important. He felt successful. But there was one thing Rajan never did. He never actually picked up a hammer. He never carved a single piece of wood. He never built anything at all. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into a year. Rajan's hands remained soft and smooth, untouched by work. His dream remained exactly that, just words floating in the air above cups of tea. One day, an old man sitting quietly in the corner of the tea stall noticed this pattern. This man was known in the village as Master Vishwa, the silent carpenter. His workshop was legendary, but he himself rarely spoke. While Rajan talked, Master Vishwa just listened and watched. One evening, as Rajan finished another dramatic speech about his future carpentry empire, Master Vishwa stood up slowly and walked over to him. The tea stall went quiet. Master Vishwa looked at Rajan with kind but penetrating eyes and said just 5 words, "Come to my workshop tomorrow." The next morning, Rajan arrived at Master Vishwa's workshop with great excitement. The workshop was humble. Simple wooden tools hung on the walls. The smell of fresh sawdust filled the air. Sunlight streamed through small windows. Master Vishwa was already working, his hands moving smoothly across a piece of teak wood. He didn't look up, he simply said, "Sit." For an hour, Master Vishwa said nothing. He just worked, no grand speeches, no explanations. Just the sound of tools meeting wood, creating something real. Finally, the master stopped. He walked to a shelf and picked up a small cloth bag. He opened it and took out a single groundnut, a raw peanut still in its shell. He placed it on the workbench in front of Rajan. "Tell me, Bo," Master Vishwa said slowly, "if you want this seed to grow into a plant, where should you place it?" Rajan answered, "In the soil, of course. And why not here?" Master Vishwa placed the groundnut on top of a smooth rock in the sunlight. "Why not leave it where everyone can see it? Where people can admire it?" Rajan paused, then understood. "Because it will die. The sun will dry it out. It will never grow." Master Vishwa nodded slowly. "Exactly. The seed on the rock receives attention and praise, but it dies in the harsh light. But if you bury, ... double quotes." Master Vishwa walked outside. He dug a small hole in the dark, moist soil of his garden. He placed the seed inside and covered it completely. If you bury it in the darkness, where no one sees it, where no one praises it, what happens? Rajan whispered. "It grows." "Yes," said Master Vishwa. "In the silent darkness, away from all eyes, it sends roots deep into the earth. It draws strength from within. And one day it breaks through the surface, something far greater, a plant that produces hundreds more seeds." The master continued, "Your dream, Rajan, is like this groundnut. Every time you announce it at the tea stall, every time you receive praise for your plans instead of your work, you are leaving your seed on the rock in the sun. You feel good, but inside your dream is dying." Master Vishwa placed his weathered hand on Rajan's shoulder. "Dairy your dream, Work in silence, let no one see until it is finished. Only then will it grow strong. Rajan left the workshop that day completely changed. He stopped going to the tea stall. The men asked, "Where is Rajan? Where is our dreamer?" But Rajan was no longer dreaming, he was building. Every morning before sunrise, he went to Master Vishwa's workshop. The master gave him the hardest tasks, sanding rough wood until his hands bled, carrying heavy planks until his back ached, practicing the same cut 500 times until it was perfect. Rajan said nothing to anyone. His friends mocked him. Rajan gave up. He quit. His relatives worried. Why is he wasting time with that old man? But Rajan stayed silent. For 6 months he worked in total obscurity. No announcements, no updates, just him, the wood, and the work. His hands, once soft, became calloused and strong. His mind, once scattered, became focused and sharp. And slowly, piece by piece, he built something. After 6 months of silent effort, Rajan completed his first real project. A simple wooden chair. It wasn't elaborate. It had no fancy carvings, but it was perfect, strong, balanced, beautiful in its honesty. Master Vishwa looked at it and smiled. The first time Rajan had ever seen him smile. Now, the master said, "You are ready to speak, not with words, but with your work." Rajan carried the chair to the village square and placed it there without a word. People walked by, they stopped, they sat in it. They admired its craftsmanship. Who made this? Where did this come from? And slowly the answer spread. Rajan, the boy who stopped talking and started building. So let me ask you this, what goal are you announcing to the world that you should be burying in silence? What dream are you talking about when you should be working on it in private? Here's the science behind why this matters. When you tell people your goals, your brain experiences premature sense of completeness. Studies show that people who announce their goals are less likely to achieve them than people who keep them private. Because talking about it satisfies the craving that should be driving you to take action. The most successful people understood this instinctively. Steve Jobs worked on the iPhone in complete secrecy for years. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter in silence, telling almost no one. They understand the groundnut principle. Real growth happens in darkness and silence. Here's my challenge to you. I call it the 30-day silence rule. Pick one important goal. Writing a book, starting a business, losing weight, learning a skill. Whatever it is, commit to working on it in complete silence for 30 days. Tell no one. Post nothing. Seek no praise. Just bury yourself in the work. At the end of 30 days, let your results speak. Let the chair you've built announce your skill, not the words you said about building it. If you're willing to accept this challenge, write in the comments, "I commit to 30 days of silence." Share after the 30 days what you accomplished. I promise you'll be shocked by how much you achieve when you stop talking and start building. Remember, the groundnut on the rock receives applause, but it dies. The groundnut in the soil receives nothing, but it grows into something magnificent. Stop talking, start building. Let your results do the speaking. If this story changed how you think, please like this video and subscribe to Story Studio 91. We share wisdom like this every week to help you grow in silence. Now go, bury your seed, and let's see what grows.